The morning sun poured through the glass walls of the city courthouse as cameras flashed and strangers whispered, because no one could understand why a man who owned half the skyline would willingly step into a marriage everyone knew was a joke. Arman Vale, a sharp-suited millionaire known for his cold ambition, was smiling for the world, while beside him stood Meera Holt, an overweight woman with trembling hands and eyes that carried years of quiet hurt. What the crowd did not know was that this wedding had begun as a careless bet, and what Arman did not expect was that this single reckless decision would tear open everything he thought he knew about worth, love, and himself. If you believe in kindness and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories, because stories like this remind us that hearts can change when we least expect it. Arman had built his fortune by noontime meetings, daylight deals, and ruthless logic. Love, to him, was inefficient, and marriage was a weakness. When his business partners mocked the idea that he could never truly commit, the bet was born over a bright lunch table under the sunlit terrace of his penthouse. He would marry someone no one expected, prove emotions meant nothing, and walk away untouched. Meera was chosen not because she was kind or intelligent, but because society had taught men like Arman to overlook women like her. She worked days at a public records office, spent her breaks reading by sunny windows, and had long accepted that people noticed her size before her soul. Meera agreed to the marriage for reasons that felt embarrassingly simple. She wanted to believe just once that someone could choose her fully, even if logic whispered otherwise. The wedding was held in daylight, filled with polite smiles and sharp judgment, and as Arman slipped the ring onto her finger, he felt nothing except relief that the bet was almost won. Yet as weeks passed in their sun-filled mansion, something strange began to happen. Meera filled the house with warmth without trying. She cooked breakfasts that smelled of comfort, tended the garden under the open sky, and spoke to staff with a gentleness Arman had never practiced. She never demanded affection, never asked why he stayed distant, and never shrank herself to fit his expectations. The world, however, was not kind. Daytime charity events became painful as whispers followed Meera through marble halls. Online headlines mocked her body and questioned Arman's sanity. Arman noticed these things the way one notices background noise, until one afternoon when he saw Meera alone by the pool, sunlight reflecting off the water as she quietly cried, believing no one was watching. In that moment, the bet stopped feeling clever. It began to feel cruel. Arman realized she was not broken by her size, but by years of being treated as invisible or laughable. Slowly, without grand gestures, Arman started changing. He defended her presence at events, altered schedules to spend daylight hours with her, and listened as she spoke about dreams she had buried long ago. Meera talked about wanting to help others who felt unseen, about learning to love her body instead of punishing it, about hoping marriage could be a partnership rather than a performance. Arman felt something unfamiliar grow inside him, not attraction alone but respect, and with it shame. The turning point came during a bright afternoon interview meant to celebrate Arman's latest business success. The reporter laughed lightly while asking about the bet that had become public rumor. In that instant, Arman looked at Meera sitting nearby, hands folded, bracing for humiliation, and the truth rose in his chest heavier than any contract he had signed. He admitted everything. He confessed the bet, the selfishness, and the mistake, not to clear his name but to honor hers. The room fell silent, and Meera stood, dignity stronger than any insult, and walked away without a scene, leaving Arman alone with consequences money could not erase. Days passed under unforgiving sunlight as Arman realized success meant nothing without character. He sought Meera not with apologies alone, but action. He funded community programs she had once dreamed of, stepped away from partnerships built on cruelty, and waited without pressure. When Meera finally returned, it was not because she needed him, but because she saw he had changed. Their marriage did not become a fairy tale overnight, but it became real. Arman discovered love was not about appearance or bets, but about choosing someone every day, especially in the light where flaws cannot hide. Meera learned that her worth had never been dependent on his choice, only reflected by it. Before this story ends, leave a comment telling us what kindness means to you, because your words matter more than you know. And if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories, so more souls can be reminded that even the coldest hearts can be warmed by truth, and that love, when chosen sincerely, can heal wounds no mirror ever could.